All right, so today we're gonna make some hard cider. Never made hard cider before, but Tommy's a chef, and we're gonna razzle dazzle this shit. So,
ginger, lemongrass, and agave syrup.
So we're gonna use about 60 pounds of apples. First step here is to grind your apples up. We're using the Maximizer grinder.
Okay.
Let's grind. Pro tip, clamps just right. We're adding these apples, stems, seeds, and all. The seeds are not getting ground up.
Yeah.
So, and they're not going to get smashed in the press either. So they'll just get filtered out in the basket. So no need to cut these apples, core them, whatever. Oh yeah. All right. For now. Oh God. So we got about, I don't know, 6 gallons of pulp here. Our press is only 4 gallons, so we're gonna scoop some out and then we'll throw this bag in the press. Our sweet Clawhammer bucket has gallon markers on the side here, so we know how much we have. It looks like we're at like 4 now. Like, do what you want, man.
I'm going down halfway.
It's your party, bro.
Yeah, I like to party.
Ooh, that's juicy right there.
And go.
Ooh, yeah. Possible. Well, it's not bad for you, man.
Yeah,
leverage wise. Ooh, yeah.
She's a juicy
She's
one.
a juicer.
She's a juicy.
She's a juicy. Ooh. So we started with 35 pounds of apples. We pressed about half of them. We've got about 1.5 gallons. So I'm guessing we're gonna end up with about 2.5 gallons of pressed juice. We don't have all day to do this, unfortunately. I like to use 100% juice from the apples that we press. So we're actually gonna supplement this with some apple cider that we bought from a store. In fact, you don't even have to press your own apples. You can just buy apple cider and make your own hard cider from that. We'll know exactly how much pressed juice we have here in a few minutes once we're done with this.
I'm gonna say it's pressed.
All right, so it looks like we got about 2.25 gallons of juice from our apples. So we're gonna go ahead and add that to our kettle here, and then we'll throw the rest of the ingredients in there as well. I think this thing worked pretty well.
Got a lot of juice out of those apples.
A lot of juice. We'll put a link to this. It's you can find this on Amazon. We'll put a link to it in the description.
So we're gonna be adding ginger root to our cider. And the first thing you wanna do is peel all the skin off it. You can use a knife or a peeler, and you're just trying to get relatively clean pieces here. We're going to be juicing this. It's the best way to impart the flavor into the cider. If you were to just cut this into pieces and add it when you're pasteurizing it, you would not get as much flavor. So we want ours real gingery, so we're going to add a bunch of ginger. I have about 3 pounds here. This will probably trim down to about 2. Now that we've peeled all of our ginger, we're going to go ahead and juice it.
All right, so we're gonna add the juice from our apples to the kettle here. We have the screen in the kettle to allow us to filter out the little bit of the chunks and whatnot that did make it in there. And Tommy's juiced our ginger. We're gonna dump that in there as well?
Yeah, we're gonna dump that in.
So it looks like we've got about 2.5 gallons in here. We're going to top this off with some cider that we bought. We're shooting for about 5.5 gallons. The gallon markers are etched on the inside of our kettle here, so we're not quite there yet. Gallon or so. Alright, take it easy. Take it easy. So we're at 5.5 gallons here, and we will now add our
agave.
agave.
We're gonna add the entire bottle. That'll also help with the water that we added to.
So yeah, this is going to add a little bit of agave flavor, plus it's going to boost the fermentable sugar content, which means it's going to be a bit higher ABV than it would be if we were just using straight cider.
And the agave will match nicely with the apples. It kind of has that caramel background notes that you would find in apples. Now we're going to add our lemongrass stalks. You need to take the stalk and we're going to bruise it with the back of the knife. It's going to release some of the oils. So you want these kind of split like this just so that they're able to release their full flavor.
Agave dissolves pretty well in room temp water.
Yeah.
I'm gonna stir this up a little bit just to make sure it's dissolved. And I'm gonna grab a sample of this just so we know what our starting gravity is going to be. We're at 1050 here, so we're gonna dump this back in here. Back in, we'll leave a little bit out.
Yeah, thanks. Very good.
Yeah.
Get a little bit of the ginger, spice, nice and pulpy.
It's gonna be spicy. So our system has a built-in heat, thermometer port, and is powered by this controller. So all we need to do is set the temperature we want on the controller here, which is gonna be a pasteurization temperature of 170 degrees. We'll set an alarm on here as well. Once we hit that temp, we'll be good to go to move on with the process. So we hit 170 here. We're going to cool this down here in a minute. But before we do that, we're going to circulate some sanitizer solution through the lines, the pump, and the wort chiller. So we've circulated sanitizer through the pump and the lines and the chiller. Now I'm going to move this over to the kettle. Just going to pop it on the quick release here. Open this up. Let's go ahead and just run it through until we get the sanitizer out, and then we'll start recirculating through here. All right. So go ahead and pop that up in here. All right. So again, the idea here is that we're going to circulate this 170 degree cider, which is at pasteurization temp, through the lines and the pump and the chiller again. We don't have the cooling water on. We want it to be hot at this point because the heat is going to kill any bacteria that's in here, which is important for this. You don't want to boil cider necessarily. It can turn it cloudy. So it's fine if you don't mind that. So we'll let this circulate here for just a minute and then we'll cool it down. All right, so we've cooled the cider down to 80 degrees. We're using this Lalvin EC 1118 yeast. It's a wine yeast. It's also good for champagne style beverages. And it's telling me on the package to rehydrate at 95 to 98 degrees. Generally, I would always say just follow the directions on the yeast package. However, I'm too lazy to make a yeast starter at this point in the day. We would have had to do it an hour ago anyway. So my plan is this. We've cooled this down to 80 degrees. We're gonna pitch this at 80. We'll then throw it in our fermentation chamber, set to our actual fermentation temp, which is 63 degrees. I think it'll be fine.
Yeah.
We'll find out. Bucket sanitized, full of sanitizer solution. Use some Star Sand for that. And I think I'm just gonna dip my hands in here. Let's just pop this down into here, I guess. All right, and then we'll just turn our pump back on and transfer this over. Generally, you use this basket for grain. Once you're done with the grain, you can hold the basket, pop some clips in. This time around, looks like we cut ourselves some lemongrass and a lot of ginger sediment. We Real nice, man.
Real nice.
Excellent work, Tommy.
Excellent.
Proud of you, man.
Yeah, high fives.
All right, let's throw this in the fridge and we'll call it a day.
Cool.
Cider's done.
Cider's done.
Time to taste it.
Cool. It's really dry. There's not a lot of sweetness. Some cider you get a lot of sweetness.
Yeah.
I wonder if it's from the apples we used?
Yeah, it's probably from the wine yeast we used.
Mm.
The ABV on this, 6.43, 1050 starting gravity, 1001 ending gravity. So the yeast just plowed through all the sugar that was in there, fermented all the way down to almost 0. So there's hardly any probably residual sugar left, which is why it's not very sweet and pretty dry.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of like that.
Yeah.
It's real crisp.
Yeah. You get a lot of ginger. You get a good amount of ginger.
Not getting necessarily a ton of lemongrass in here.
No, it's got a nice spice to it. I put it on tap 4 days ago or something, and the very first day, it was really strong. Like, it was overbearing. I didn't like it. It was bad. I was like, oh, dude, this is
What did we do?
too much ginger is what I thought. What happened though was I didn't cold crash it before I put it on tap, so there's a lot of stuff still in suspension. And I've noticed that every day that I've come in to drink more, I've had like my first pour has been really cloudy. Like all the ginger and whatnot has settled out of it. So now, because we pureed the ginger.
Yeah.
So now that its sediment's gone, it's much smoother than it was. So if you happen to make this recipe and it's just overbearing at first, I'll just give it some time and it'll mellow out. I like also that it's gluten-free. It's gluten-free, which is, we haven't made anything that's gluten-free yet.
It means there's no gluten in there.
It's good.
Yeah, I like it.
I like it.
Yeah, I could drink this.
Yeah, I could drink it. I have actually been drinking a lot of this.
Kyle's been hanging out in the office drunk.
But anyway, nice job on this one. Awesome. Cheers.
Cheers.
Thanks for coming up with this recipe. Thanks for watching, and I give this a 10 of 10 again. Definitely brew this beer. Brew this cider.
Cider beer.
Cider beer. If this is what you're into. Thanks for watching. See ya.
Excellent.
Crack the seal.
Hey, it's gluten free.
Gluten free, man.
Gluten free. Don't worry, it's gluten free.